Hello and welcome to my little video today. For today I was planning on providing an overview of the setup I use for playing IL2 Great Battles in my VR. Looking to cover the hardware and the software. I'll also go into some of the key mapping, more the logic rather than listing every single control. With this, I hope to provide some inspiration for you guys to have your own ideas and build it the way you want it. And who knows, you guys might end up giving me other ideas that I can incorporate myself. I've been flying flight sims on and off since before the turn of the century, mainly focused on World War II era. In all of that time I've been wanting VR. I dislike using a hat to control my view. Padlock's okay, but it's really not the best. Now that VR is possible, I find myself with real life commitments limiting my cash flow. I also like flying different aircraft frames. Yes, I prefer the Spitfire, but have been known to fly a whole heap of different aircraft. The space I have in my house, limited. Basically I'm working at my desk. VR also brought its own problems. I can't see the keyboard, so that's now useless. Unless I of course go to pass-through, which really something I didn't want to deal with. So now I have a set of criteria. I need something inexpensive, flexible, tactile so I can identify by feel alone, and something compact. I'd like to make a shout out to people like AuthenticKit. These guys have developed plans for World War II aircraft controls that you can 3D print, and I believe they also provide kits with all the electronics to make them work. I'll include a link below. As you can see, I've not used them myself, but that is simply because of my situation. I have mates who have made great rigs with these kits. This video is not going to be a how-to video for today, just an overview on the total package and how I try and get it working together. So, this is my desk. As you can see, Quest 2 VR headset, just a simple Logitech joystick, and one very customized throttle control box. Underneath, homemade rudder pedals. Okay, so a quick rundown of the throttle box. It is powered by 2 Arduino boards and a lot of wires. It also has the potentiometers for the rudder pedals that plug in. We have 6 control levers here. Each of them have replaceable caps, lids, markers that I can use to reconfigure them to control different things, be it throttle, pitch, mixture, elevator trim, aileron trim, rudder trim. Then I've grouped sets of controls. These are for the weapons, so gun control sight, toggling the bomb mode, toggling the rocker mode. These are done by potentiometers here. These are momentary switches that go both ways. We also utilize switches down here for gear, and that's a permanent toggle switch. That allows me to feel the switch under VR and identify, in this case, gear is up or gear is down. Group of rocker switches here, they're used to control elevator, rudder and aileron trims. A group of switches here, again these are those momentary each way toggles that allow me to control the cowl flaps. A big ugly switch for the eject button. I also have 2 encoders that I've programmed to control various things like SRS or my OpenKneeBoard. So the start of this Throttle Box was very different to what you see there. Long ago it looked more like this. 4 control levers, series of buttons on the side, and what looks distinctively like a joystick grip, because that's exactly what it was. It started off with me grabbing an old joystick, pulling it apart the casing and keeping all of the electronics, and then I made a box and remounted all of the electronics to provide me with a very simplified throttle box. The stick getting drilled in and mounted to the top was simply working out a way to connect the hat and the trigger switch, because it seemed awkward. The board you see on the left, that's the board from the base of the joystick, providing 6 levers. Over time I got a second joystick, so then 2 joysticks were combined into one to provide 6 levers, 2 sticks with switches, and then I started branching out into the Arduino boards, which allowed me to put the other toggle switches on board. Using a joystick can be a very simple way to make it up. You don't have to do any programming or any software or anything like that. The computer sees it as the original joystick. All you've done is physically mount the potentiometer or the switch in a slightly different position to better suit what you want to do. There are 3 other programs I like using to help with the VR experience. The first one is OpenKneeBoard. That projects an image inside your VR that looks like a sheet of paper, a clipboard that you've had attached to your knee, hence the name. That can be loaded with image files, PDF files, Word files, even open windows like an internet page or another program. You can search for different groups, and each group can have a different page. So my controls group, I can scroll through and look at the various different key mapping I've got for the throttle box and my joystick. You can pause that and have a look to see what I've got while I'm there. I've also got the formations my squadron uses, and I've also got some charts to help flight calculations, because my brain is dead when I go flying. This is also the next great aid. This is pilot notes, which actually can be loaded into the cockpit image. IL2 has usually photographs of pilot's wife or girlfriend, but that can be changed to a whole series of pilot notes, including power settings, time limits, temperature gauges, and other details. The third one is called NeckSaver. A lot of different people have different opinions upon this, whether it's good or bad. In my viewpoint, one of the things about VR is the peripheral vision is limited, so I've set it at about 30 degrees extra head turn to allow me to see behind me, whereas in real life I'd turn my head then turn my eyes. With VR and the helmets, you turn your eyes, you just see the edge of the frame of the VR. Okay, another program that I use is one called VoiceAttack. This will change voice given commands into certain keyboard functions. So for here I've got a group that will change the Discord channel for me, having mapped Discord to look for that keyboard shortcut. Then VoiceAttack will actually run that for me. So I've used that for Discord. I've also used it to, mainly use it to control the gunners. There's a lot more you can do. You could have every single key combination organized as a voice command, but personally I've not gone that way. So that's what I wanted to show you today, how I have been able to develop a rig setup, flying setup, with some fairly hefty restrictions, particularly with funds. If you can't afford to buy professionally made rudder pedals and throttle controls, you can get these same controls with relative ease just by repurposing a second or even a third joystick. I use wood because I have a lot of it and the tools to do something with it. If you have a 3D printer yourself, or maybe a friend with one, then making components to attach these potentiometers and switchboards can be relatively easy. I do recommend looking through sites such as Thingiverse for ideas in that area. Mapping of controls is almost a never-ending process. For myself, being able to group certain controls in certain areas helped me remember where the physical switch is located. Looking at secondary apps can also help with your gaming experience. Well, that's all for me today. Wishing you all the best, and I'll see you soon.